This week has been an unusual week in the life of East Texans. Many of you are aware that Pilgrim's Pride Corporation had been through a time of bankruptcy and was emerging from bankruptcy. And really the last 3 years that I've been here as your pastor have been interesting times economically for our country and for this particular part of the world. Well, this week and really over the next 8 weeks, as we're walking through Malachi, there are a number of issues that have continued to surface for me as your pastor, and reading through the book and seeing where God's taken us with this study. And this week, Joey Hamm, who has worked for Pilgrims for how long, Joey? 17 of the last 20 years, Joey has worked for Pilgrim's Pride. And this week, because of the buyout by JBS, they decided that they no longer needed his services. And so we talked, and I said, Joey, why don't you come share a little bit about what God has been revealing to you? And then what'll be fun is 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, 10 years from now, to look back and see what we saw clearly and what we only saw vaguely. But Joey's going to come and share just a bit of what God's been teaching him, even in the midst of some difficult days. And I think it will lay the groundwork for what God has to say to us through His Word. Joey, you come, sir.
Well, as he said, 17 of the last 20 years were spent working for Pilgrim's Pride. It started with working on phone systems and whatnot out of the Pittsburgh, Mount Pleasant area, and most recently finishing up taking care of their entire voice and wide area networking data operations out of the data centers in Richardson and Rockwall. But when Dave asked me to speak, I'll gladly talk to you about what God's allowed me to accomplish technology-wise. But that's not why I'm here today. I'm here to tell you what He's clearly revealed to me over the last several months, and especially over the last week. But with other acquisitions that we'd been through, and by the nature of my job, I was one of the first ones involved, and was quickly asked how quickly I could, get them connected and the network built, and how much would it cost. When this process started, especially back in September, middle of September, and then by the 1st of October, I was quick to see that I was not only going to be asked those questions, but I was going to be asked questions of what is it you do and how do you do it. So God clearly revealed that to me right then that not only did I need to give them the techie answers that they were seeking, and I gladly gave them the techie answers, but I also needed to let them know who I was based on Christ's involvement in my life. He wasn't many weeks ago that He provided that opportunity. We went through an interview process, and God took care of me in that. He clearly allowed me the ability to communicate who I was based on God's involvement in my life, and also allowed me to communicate technically, what we'd accomplished and the great team that I had. As I came out of that meeting, God gave me a peace about my job, so much to the point that I was like, God, I know You're in control, and whatever's going to be is going to be. That became my catchphrase. And so for the past, several weeks, I knew what I knew technically, if that makes sense, but I also knew that God was in control. So I had a swagger about me going, they technically need me, so I'm going to be all right. Well, we got the network integrated 2 weeks ago Monday, and as soon as we got the networks together, things began to change organizationally. And by this time last Sunday, I was having to tell myself, God, You're in control, because it was becoming quite obvious that things were going to change. Monday evening, and then especially Tuesday morning, it was very apparent that there was going to be technical changes. The first thing that He laid out Tuesday morning, and without getting in the details of it, how it came down, based on other team members, me being based out of the Rockwall Data Center, and then other guys obviously here in the Pittsburgh area, by the time, I got to work Tuesday morning, it was clear that there was things going to change. But based on the way it happened, it was clear right off the bat, very early in the morning, that I wasn't part of their technical plans. So I can't tell you, number one, that tears you down from a professional perspective. But then what God did right then is it would have been easy for them to call me in right then and go, dude, go home. And I would have chose that route. But what God had me right there, and if you've ever been in a data center environment you've got a lot of different personalities, to say the least, but God provided me that opportunity Tuesday to share for the better part of the day what God is to me and what Christ's involvement in my life has meant. So for the rest of the day, it was a unique scenario, but then my job technically did end Tuesday afternoon. So what he showed me, what he revealed from Tuesday, and then in the coming days, I mean, Tuesday evening or Tuesday night clearly was a sleepless night. So he, laid that out and didn't want me to get any sleep just so I could pray through my animosity towards the process, because it wasn't pretty, and the people and the decisions of that process. Put that past me, but then he clearly laid out that I'm technically not going to always understand what he has for me. And technically it's not going to be easy, but it's my job. And it's my job, regardless if I get another job in telecommunications and wide area networking, it's my job to constantly be relational and shows Christ's love in my life and be whatever I need to be to other people, no matter what I can do technically. So I can't tell you the clarity that he's provided in that area in the remaining days. I didn't always do it like by the nature of my job, I was a technical manager first. But he's clearly laid out that I need to be a disciple of Christ first from here on out. So thank you. I can't tell you the outpouring of support in the days following. And like I said, it's not going to be easy, but God's got a bigger plan, and I'm looking forward to that plan.
Amen. Thank you, Joey.